All right, so before he actually comes on, right, let's do one more push. Right now, we're at 247 people. I'll be honest, I believe truthfully that we can get to 300 plus. Let's do everything in our power, guys. Everything in our power to send this out to make sure that we max out on this call. There's not too many chances that you're going to have an opportunity to have the CEO of the company that you are a part of on a call with you that you get to hear from. He said this at the event in Lily Charlotte. Out of all the places that you've worked at specifically, when was the last time you had a conversation, you got a chance to hear from the CEO himself? This is going to be one of those situations where y'all are going to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Y'all are going to hear from, the one and only Mr. David Imonitie. So, okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, cool. So, what I want to do is I want to actually bring him up, and before I even do that, I have to just kind of go over the individual that y'all about to hear from. So first things first, he was actually born in Lagos, Nigeria. For those of you who don't know, he played tennis in college. The number one African American income earner in direct sales industry. Award-winning author, CEO and founder of Believe Nation and Envision You. Without further ado, we have Dr. David Imonitie. David, if you are there, let us know.
Absolutely, I'm on. Brycen, how are you?
I am doing amazing. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. And I'm feeling
Awesome,
good.
man.
Feeling good.
Awesome. I love the signs behind you. Execute, hustle, failure, execute, grind, success. I love it.
Most definitely, most definitely. I'm super excited about this call. And I know for sure that a lot of people are going to just really take this information and everything we're going to cover today and really run with it. I think this will be very monumental. And I'm super, super excited. I'm gonna pass it back over to Carl. Carl, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I feel
Ma-
good. It's something that I'm well prepared for. I've been consuming David for the last week. Like I said, what really motivated this call was the Charlotte event. You might not even knew, but when you walked into the door and you had the headphones on and you was just repeating things to yourself, I was watching you. And at that very moment, I said, hey, I'm not going to ignore what I know he's listening to because you always say personal
Mhm.
development. And you was just so locked in protecting what you hear and controlling your own narrative. So at that point, I started taking it more seriously myself. The first thing I did when I got back home was charge my AirPods. I
Mm.
charged my AirPods, and me and BT just was talking about it, and we just start consuming a lot of information. So I'm super excited for this call. I know that there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs, and it might be things that people have heard before, but it's something
Right.
people need to hear again and reconfirm that these are the things that they need to be doing on a daily to create the success that they desire.
Absolutely, man. I'm really excited about this call, Carl, because when Bryson texted me about it, it really brought a lot of joy to my heart, honestly, because if today are really focused on creating financial freedom. And they should. I mean, I think financial freedom is very, very important, and it's something that everybody on this call, everybody in the world, truly deserves. But there's a roadmap to becoming financially free, and that roadmap is something that I believe a lot of people are ignoring, not just in this industry of network marketing, but I believe in every industry. I think because now it's so much easier to create success, right? What we consider to be success, that we've forgotten what it really, really takes to become successful, and that roadmap to actually get there. Because success is not just money. Success is really about who you're becoming. And money is a byproduct of that. So when he sent me that flyer and told me what the whole premise of this call was, I got really excited about it because we have to be in the business of developing leaders. We have to be in the business of developing people. And I learned a long time ago, if you build people, then they'll build the business. So instead of focusing so much on just building the business, focus on growing people, growing the leaders, developing the leaders, and the business will follow suit with that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that really leads me to my first question. Obviously, everyone is created, in the image of God. With that being said, do you believe that someone in this industry can possess a it factor, or do you believe that factor is determined by how much someone is in tune with the spiritual side of success?
You're both right. Think about it. I mean, before we got here, um, we already accomplished something great, right? When that race started, right, to actually be conceived, you were the one that won that race out of trillions of other possible people that could have been on this planet. So you've already done something special. So everybody is born with that it factor, every single person, but not everybody develops the it factor. So we're all born leaders and we're all born perfect. We're all born to be successful and to have dominion. But not everybody puts themselves in the right environment. Not everybody puts themselves in the right situations in order for them to develop that it factor. So you're absolutely right that we are born with it, but it's a gift, right? It's a gift. And what you have to do with that gift is you have to develop that gift. You have to protect that gift. You have to grow that gift. And that's where discipline, that's where personal growth comes into play in order to develop that gift.
Absolutely. No, that was good. That was good. So, all in a nutshell, everybody has it, but it has to be developed.
Yes. Yeah,
Perfect.
without a doubt. Without a doubt. And on this call, we're going to give you some actual tools that you can actually use to develop that it factor that's on the inside of you. Yes, because we're all created in the image of God. As a matter of fact, we are gods. We're not big God, but we're little God. And the closer we can actually get to big God, the bigger our God gets. You know what I mean? And we're gonna really tackle that on this call here today.
Perfect.
Most definitely, most definitely. So, one question I do have, David, just to kind of start us off, what was it actually like for you growing up? Like growing up in, as a kid, what was it like for you growing up, and even to get to the point you are at currently that we're seeing in front of our face?
Well, I was really blessed growing up. I grew up in Nigeria, so the first 10 years of my life was in Nigeria. My dad played professional tennis. So I grew up with a celebrity. He was number one in Nigeria. So my life growing up was church, it was school, and it was tennis. Those are the three things that we did. And in Nigeria, we weren't rich, but we were I would say well off. My mom always made sure we traveled. So we traveled to Europe, we traveled to the UK, we traveled here to the United States quite a bit. So I had a great upbringing. Both my parents were pastors. So I was at church 8 days a week. So it was it was a great upbringing. And when I came to this country in 1993, prior to that, I had fallen in love with Michael Jordan. Bryce, I mean, Michael Jordan was my life. Like that was like because my mom came back with this tape, the Michael Jordan Come Fly With Me. Oh my God, who's that? LeBron is better. No, he's not. Must be a YN on the call saying that. Anyway, uh, um, it's a big distraction for me. Anytime somebody says LeBron is better than Jordan, I almost want to change the whole subject right now. But anyway, so she brought home this tape, Michael Jordan, Come Fly With Me. Bryson, I watched that tape over and over and it broke in the you guys don't know what cassette tapes are, but it actually broke in the video VHS. Yes, it broke in there. That's how many times I actually watched it. So when I came here, my whole mindset was I'm going to the NBA. I'm gonna make it to the NBA. Right, that was my whole goal. I'm gonna make it to the NBA. Didn't quite work out that way at all. So growing up, basketball was very important to me, but I wasn't that good, and then went off to college, and that's where life started to really take shape. And initially, it didn't start out great, but one thing I've learned is that everything that actually happens, good or bad, whatever we consider to be good, whatever we consider to be bad, it's all leading us to where it is that God wants us to go. And I know sometimes when we're in the middle of that storm, or when we're in the middle of that challenge, or the adversity that we're facing, or even the good times that we're facing, it can feel like, man, will this ever change, or will things ever get better, or will I ever lose something? But understand that everything that's happening, it's working out for your good. Whether it's something great that's happening or something that's not so great that's happening, keeping that in your mind. So I can look back now and see that the challenges that I had 22 years ago, they all led me to where it is that I am today.
Good. That's good right there. And it's great that you say this, like everything is preparing you, even the storm that certain people are in. I know that you experienced, a lot of success in network marketing. You started in your early 20s. I also do know in the years of 2015 and 2016, you experienced a financial pullback,
Yeah.
right? Those years, what was the dominating negative thoughts? Because I want people to know, like, what is the enemy going to be saying in those times?
Yeah.
What were the negative thoughts, the dominating ones, and what environment did you put yourself in to be able to keep at it? Because I know there might be certain people that was at a certain level, but they might not occupy that space. So could you talk about that time for me?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that time, 2012, that year, I made $2.2 million that year. And that was my biggest year of income. Things were humming, things were going very, very well. And then I set a goal in 2013 that I was going to make $5 million, right? And, I had the belief system down, I had my signs up, and everything was rocking. I just knew I was going to get it done. 2013 rolled around, my income went to 1.7 million. So not too much of a drop off, but half a million is a pretty big drop off. And then 2014, my income went to 1.1. That's half of what I earned 2 years ago, right? And then 2015, my income went to 650. Now at this point, it's like, wait a minute, like I'm like, God, where are you? Right. So I don't know if you know this, but I actually went to Bible school. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Bible school. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go find God, right? And so I went to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I went to Bible school at Rhema, and here's what my schedule was. I would go to school Monday through Friday. Friday, right after class, I would fly into a city Friday, and I would do a meeting Friday night. I would do a home meeting Friday night. And then Saturday, we would get a hotel room and I would do four meetings. I would do 12. I would do 10, 12, 2, and 4. And then I would catch the last flight out, all right, of that city back to Houston. So I would sleep in my bed. Okay. Sounds like an amazing problem to have. I was sleeping in my bed on Saturday night. I would go to church on Sunday, and then I would fly back to Oklahoma Sunday night to be in class on Monday. And I did that for a whole year. All right. So you say, well, what did I do? Or what was it the enemy was saying? It was really fear. It was really fear that I allowed to creep into my mind. And what he was telling me was, I'm going to take everything away from you. Everything that you've worked for, everything that's happened, I'm going to take it away from you. So as I started to see things slide and slip away, I was like, wow, man, this is actually happening. And then it was like, was it was it really real? Was it luck? Was it just timing? So all these things start to play in your mind. And you said something when you were bringing me up, controlling the narrative. That's a big thing right there. The story we create in our minds, ladies and gentlemen, is so big. You have to make sure that you're telling yourself the right story. You got to make sure you're telling yourself the right narrative, because what you're telling yourself, believe it or not, you're really creating it. You may not see it today, but it's going to show up a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 3 years from now. Everything that we replay in our minds, and your mind works two ways. It works off of replay and it works off of pre-play. All right. Pre-play. So I was pre-playing me losing. I was pre-playing me falling backwards. And guess what? I was actually creating that. And that's exactly what actually took place. So what I had to do was I had to change my environment, and I had to change the people that I was around. It had gotten to a point where, Carl, that certain people that I was around, I knew I could no longer be in relationship with them. Your emotional state, if you look up the word emotions, your emotions come from your circumstances, they come from the mood that you're in, and they come from your relationships. And the relationships that I had in that environment at that particular time were no longer conducive to where it is that I wanted to go. So I had to change that environment, and that's exactly when things changed for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sheesh. That's good right there. That's good. That's good. So, David, and for those who are on the call, if you've actually read the title of the call, it is called Conceive, Believe, and Achieve. David has an audio. He also has a book. I've been listening to this audio every single day. I can't make it up. And in this audio, David literally went over how when he would run a prospect call, he would have one headphone in a personal development as he was actually running the call because no matter what the prospect said or no matter what was said in the call, he would already have something to kind of counter the negative thoughts. And
Mhm.
David, in the actual recording, you went over how the industry of network marketing is a war, and if you can survive it for at least 10 years, you'll be rich and wealthy beyond your wildest imagination. But
Sure.
what was your thought process in actually creating that? The conceive, believe, and achieve. What was your thought process behind it?
Well, I never, Bryson, I always wanted to put out personal development material, right? Because I knew what personal self-development did for me. So I always wanted to put out a book or an audio, something like that. But I didn't want to put anything out there until I had the evidence, until I had the proof that what it is that I was going to be teaching, that I had already lived it. All right. So in 2011, I actually recorded that at the end of 2011. That was my first year earning over $1 million. And one thing that really resonated with me back then, it still resonates today. Every single person has the opportunity to create what it is that they want. That's the gift. That's what's on the inside of you. That's the spirit man has the ability to have dominion on this planet. But it first has to be a thought. You first have to now start to conceive. You don't give birth until you actually conceive first. So there has to be a seed that's planted on the inside of you, and that seed is the right words. I am successful. I am wealthy. I am so happy and grateful now that I am planting that seed on the inside of you and then believing it has to do with how am I seeing it? Do I have the signs? Do I have the pictures? I started to learn how to do that. So I've got this thought in my mind because you become what it is that you think about, right? That's where conceive really comes from. But then now I've got to see it every single day. So even right now in my home, if you look at my fridge, I've got a $10 million home up there and I've got a private jet up there. And I've got a sign that says Envisioning does $100 million a year, right? It says I'm loved, I'm grateful. I've got things up there that I'm constantly seeing all the time. And that's where belief now starts to come into play, right? So I conceive it in my heart, conceive it in my mind that this is possible, right? And then I start to do the physical aspects, the putting up the signs and the pictures and seeing where it is that I'm going. Your screensaver on your phone. You should always see your future. You should never see your present situation because your present situation is never going to be where you want it to be. You've got to constantly look at where it is that you're going in the future while being grateful in the present. So if you're frustrated about the present, if you're upset about the present, if you're impatient about the present, all you're doing is just pushing that future. You're pushing it further and further and further away from you. So being in a state of being happy, being in a state of being grateful right now, even in whatever state that you're in, I don't care. You have to be in a state of gratitude right now while speaking and while seeing where it is that you want to go.
Absolutely. Guys, please do not wait super long to start listening. Like, please go ahead and print things out. Go to Google Docs, go get some images, do whatever you need to do. Change your screensaver, start writing. I'm so happy and grateful. Just start logging everything because people are not just saying it. When I first got into this industry, I thought that was just fluff. And now I understand, like, yo, like it really is a secret to this. It's a secret to moving at a certain frequency. And what I want to ask is, you have been in this industry for 2 decades plus. If someone is starting this journey day one, what wisdom will you give them about this industry to survive that will help them last as long as you or to even last longer?
Yeah. Well, number one, the first thing I would tell anybody starting out would be number one, to be patient. That's the biggest thing. Number one is to be patient. And patience is not, oh, I'm waiting for something to happen. That's not patience. Patience is constantly taking action without losing any enthusiasm. That's what patience is. As a matter of fact, Carl, why don't you go on Google right now and actually look it up? Look up the meaning of the word patient. Look up the meaning of the word patient, and you'll see what it is I'm talking about. It's not losing enthusiasm, and because it's going to take time, ladies and gentlemen. And what takes time is not, oh, is it going to take time for me to make money? Guys, you can get on a market bully session and make money. Right? You can learn how to use, the Olympus scanner and make money. You can learn how to use Skywalker and make money, right? But we're talking about you developing. Look at this. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. All right? That's without getting angry or upset. So guess what? Patience is going to be needed in order for you to succeed. Period. In the story. So you're going to have to accept it. You're going to have to be able to tolerate it. You're going to have to be able to accept delays, right? Because it's not going to happen overnight. But I can't get angry and I can't get upset during the process. That's the first thing I would tell someone who's getting started. The next thing I would do is I would say, find someone that has got the results that you're looking to accomplish, right? And that could be, you want to go champion. That could be you want to be a sapphire. That could be you want to be a diamond. Find someone that's already accomplished what it is that you want to accomplish and make a decision that you're going to listen, not just hear, but actually listen. Because listen means I'm doing what you told me. Growing up, if my mom said, David, go get me the remote, I heard her, right? But if I didn't get up and get her the remote, did I really listen? No. I listened if she said, David, can you give me the remote? And I said, and I got up and I actually went and got it. So action lets me know that you're actually listening. Action actually lets us know that you're actually listening. So when you find that coach and you find that mentor, you find that person that has the results that you're looking for, now you say, okay, I'm going to listen to everything that they tell me to do. I'm going to be teachable and coachable. That's the next thing I would say. Decide that you're going to listen. Decide you're going to be teachable and coachable. All right, that's going to be key because you're going to have to develop. You're going to have to grow. You're going to have to become better. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is going to happen. I tell people it takes 2 to 5 years to develop a leader. 2 to 5 years. Now, some people are like, man, that's a long time. No, it's not. That's actually a short time. That's a short time to become a leader. 2 to 5 years. So if I was sitting down with someone right now, brand new, I would say, number one, be patient. All right. Because we got to grow, we got to develop. That's not going to happen overnight. 2, decide who you're going to listen to and actually follow exactly what they're going to tell you to do. Be teachable and coachable. Those would be the first 3 things I would tell somebody brand new right now.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So David, you talk about, well, you just spoke about pretty much making sure that you're being able to listen, but also listening to someone who has the results that you have. Quick story. I remember vividly my first 2 years in this industry, the highest I ever reached was about 2 grand a month. And I remember finding that individual myself, and it was actually Kalai Lacombe. And my first 2 months with him, I surpassed my highest level. So it went from 2 years to 2 months. But I say this to say, David, could you talk about how important mentorship has been in your journey?
Mm,
And what is the importance of influence in leadership?
yeah. Well, influence is everything when it comes to leadership. And my goodness, influence is such a powerful word. It is, it really decides your entire life, who you're allowed to influence you. A mentor, a guide, someone who provides direction, someone who provides uh, information. that provides knowledge, that provides wisdom, that provides experience. This is so vital to your success. Who you allow to influence you. These words, they're not just one word. In, right? What's happening on the inside, because success is inside out. It's not outside in, right? And then flu is contagious. Influence is extremely contagious. It passes on. It passes on. It doesn't stay with one person. You can influence one, and that one can influence 1,000, and 1,000 can influence 100,000, right? And then that word, fluence, that's the mysterious power. That's the magical power that we have. And it's all because of the words that you allow someone to speak into your life. See, that's what a mentor is. A mentor is someone who's speaking life to you. Not only are they speaking life to you, they're actually showing you a picture of what your future can actually look like. I remember the first time I actually had a mentor, and listen, it was everything for me. I cherished it. I respected it. Um, because I knew that whatever it is that God had done in their lives, that God could do the same exact thing for me. And it goes back to really how I was raised. My dad was my first mentor, on the tennis court. My dad would tell me, I want you to hit 100 backhands cross court. I want you to hit 100 backhands down the line, or 100 forehands cross court, or 100 forehands down the line. So I was taught to listen. I used to love those old Chinese movies where it was the sensei, right? It was the student. Then you go to the Bible. Joshua was great because he had a Moses. Elisha was great because he had a Elijah. I mean, even Jesus had a mentor. He said, "Well, who was Jesus' mentor?" It was the Holy Spirit, right? It was the Holy Spirit. If you pay attention to everything he was saying, it was because of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has empowered me. And that's what a mentor does. A mentor has the ability to guide you, has the ability to teach you, has the ability to, even when you are in a challenging moment, they have the ability to provide strength. They have the ability to empower you. A mentor is someone that can motivate you. So times where I was feeling down, you may have gotten on this call right now and you may have felt down. But because you've allowed Carl, because you've allowed Brycen, because you've allowed myself tonight to actually pour into you, guess what? You're being influenced with what? You're being influenced with the right energy. You're being influenced with belief. You're being influenced with wisdom. You're being influenced with the right environment. That's I could speak on that forever. Having the right mentor, and it's a privilege. It's not a birthright. Um, and like I said, influence is something that's so easy to lose. It's hard to gain because it's a trust factor, but it's so easy to lose. So I'm very careful to guard that. The people that I do have influence with, because you don't have influence over people, you have to have influence with them, and that means that person is willing to listen. When someone doesn't listen, it means I have no influence with them, and it's okay. You have to. I was listening to something today, and it was Creflo. He actually said that the Holy Spirit is constantly talking. He never stops talking. But if your ears are not ready to hear it, you won't hear anything he has to say. So the mentor that you have in your life never stops talking. She is always talking. He is always talking. They're always coaching. But if you haven't trained your ear to listen, you might as well be deaf, right? Because you and that's an ego thing. When I see people that are not willing to listen, it's pure ego. It's nothing else. It's your ego of thinking that you know more. And guess what? You don't, right? I don't know more than John C. Maxwell. I don't. He's been in leadership for 50 years. He's got more experience. So times where I need leadership coaching, I'll call him. I don't know more than, Apostle Hilliard. That's a spiritual father of mine, mentor of mine. Guess what? I call him my mother. My mother. Like, I don't know more than my mother. You say, well, I've made more money than my. No, there is an influence that she can have, that she has on you, that you can't explain. God gave her that. God gave your parents that. Hopefully, your parents, and I know everybody doesn't come from that, and that's okay, but you still have a heavenly father, right? So there's never an excuse as to why you can't go on and become great, because there's that spiritual father that you have, that if you start listening, great things will start to happen for you.
For sure. Okay. Now that was good right there, guys. I pray that you guys are taking notes. A lot of gems have been dropped at lightning speed right now. Um, my next question is, because there's a lot of people here that are, trying to, make sure that they are giving their team the right resources that they need. What would be your primary teachings and trainings to create leaders specifically in the business? If you had to simplify it to 5 trainings, what topics will make your list?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the top 5 characteristics of a leader. All right. I'm going to give you that. And then I'm going to recommend several books, and I'm going to recommend them in sequence of how I want you to, or how I would suggest that you study these books. Okay. So 5 characteristics. Number 1 is character. Character, character, character. Character is what shows up in adversity. Okay. Do you have character? Number 2, integrity. Can I count on your word? If you say you're going to do something, do you do it? All right. Number 3 is a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude. Positive mental attitude doesn't mean you don't see the challenge. It just means that you see the challenge, but you're thinking, what's the solution to the challenge? A positive mental attitude does not complain about the challenge. What they do is they bring solutions to the challenge. All right. A positive mental attitude is someone that says, okay, there's fire here. Do I bring water or do I bring gasoline to the fire? All right. You want to have someone that's going to douse the fire. All right. Not someone who's going to add to it. Okay. So a positive mental attitude. You're also looking for people that have incredible work ethic. Incredible work ethic. All right. No great leader ever has ever become a great leader without incredible work ethic consistently. That's being consistent, right? That's an attribute when it comes to work ethic. And then last but not least is a pleasing personality. A pleasing personality. You've got to be able to, you're not going to be able to grow with people if you can't get along with people. Okay. You have to, in order to get along, you're going to have to get along with people. Does that make sense? In order for you to go to the next level, your relationships with people, they have to be great. It's not that you're walkover, right? It's not that no, but you pay attention to the relationship that you have, and you foster great relationships with the people that you're actually working with. All right. So a pleasing personality. Some books though that I would recommend. Number 1 book I would recommend is the first book I would say recommend. It's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And these are all John C. Maxwell books. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That's number 1. Number 2 would be developing the leader within you. And guys, we're on the go, right? I'm not a sit down and read a book guy. All right. I'm an audio guy. All right. I will listen. I will listen to audios all day long. All right. So you can get these audios, and while you're going throughout your day, right, you can just have them constantly playing. You're not going to hear everything, but when you constantly hear it over and over and over again, you're going to pick up on certain things that you may have missed the first 5 times that you listen to that audio. All right. So 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, developing the leader within you. And then here's a big one, developing leaders around you. Right? Developing leaders around you. So someone like Carl, who is a growing leader, someone like Brycen, who's an emerging leader. I mean, you guys are doing some phenomenal things. You guys are going to go on and become absolute multimillionaires in this space. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. That's a done deal. Developing leaders around you is going to accelerate that. Learning how to develop other, because that's the number 1 job of a leader, the number one job of a leader is to identify potential leaders and now create a plan to start developing them. And that's why this call that you guys put together was so powerful, because you're now focusing on, okay, how can I develop leaders? And I'm going to touch on why that's so important. All right. So developing leaders around you. Here's a big book right here. The 5 levels of leadership. The 5 levels of leadership. First level is positional leadership. All right. So people will follow you, Carl, because you're a diamond. He's a diamond, so he must know what he's talking about. But that's the lowest level of leadership. Secondly, people may follow you because they like you. Right? They like you. They get along with you. They like your personality. So they're giving you permission to lead them because they like you. Here's number 3, production-based leader. Man, if Brycen shows up on this call, if Brycen comes to my city, I know people are going to join. So Brycen, they'll follow you because you can produce. Production-based leader. All right. And then level 4, which is where you really want to get to, is being a personal development leader. This is where you now are changing the hearts and minds of people. This is where now you're developing their skill set as a great communicator. When you start to develop the minds and the hearts of people, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, Frank. When you become an influencer, right? And I'm not talking about the social media influencer. I'm talking about leadership influence. When you start to develop the minds and the hearts of people, that's when leadership now goes. Because now it's not about money anymore, right? There are people in our company and Envision You, they're not following me because I can produce. They're not following me because they just like me. They're not following me because, oh, he's the CVO. They're following me because of what I've done for them from a personal self-development standpoint. Does that make sense? I've been able to impact their hearts and their minds and have them grow as human beings. Those people, they stay with you longer. Okay? They stay with you longer. Now, the last one is the pinnacle leadership. The pinnacle leadership. This is where people follow you because of who you are and what you stand for. All right. And very few leaders ever get to pinnacle. Pinnacle is not an easy place to get to. And here's another thing you have to realize: everybody won't see you as a pinnacle leader. They're going to be, people are going to see you at different levels. There are going to be some people that follow you because they like you. There are going to be some people that follow you because, you've developed them personally. Or there's going to be some people that follow you because you're a production, you can produce for them. All right. So, but those books right there, in that sequence, ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe you study them, all right, and then you start to practice. Because leadership, 3 things, write this down: study, practice, teach. That's what you do with leadership. You study leadership, you practice what it is that you study, and then you teach what it is that you're practicing. And teaching is not just getting on a call. Teaching is how you live your life. So a leader is constantly teaching. How do they live that? How do they live in their lives? How do they interact with people? How do they treat people? Their reputation. All this is teaching, right? It's not just getting on a call. It's not just getting on stage. It's how you're living your life is going to be the ultimate teacher of the type of leader that you are.
Sheesh. That was good. That was good. Y'all do me a favor. If y'all were paying attention, drop the 5 different levels of leadership that David just spoke about. If y'all are paying attention, y'all are locked in. I want y'all to actually drop the 5 different levels. And that'll lead me to my next question, David. So obviously you actually just spoke about her. Your mom's a pastor.
Mhm.
And I want you to actually talk about how she's actually influenced you and y'all's relationship. I want to
Yeah.
hear about that.
My mother is my rock. You know, um, ever since I was a child, my mom is always she's always believed in me. And my mom's tough. Anybody knows my mom is tough. She don't play at all. And The influence that she's had on my life. Here's the biggest influence I would say. I've watched her serve God. I've watched her love God. I've watched her um, put everything on the line for what she believes, you know, and because of who she believes on, right? Who she believes in, and that's incredible to watch. You know, she's been serving God now for 40 plus years, and I don't know anybody who loves God the way she does. You know, our relationship, she knows everything about me. She knows every great thing, every not so great thing. And it's a true representation of what love is, right? And I pray everybody on this call has someone in your life like that, that no matter what it is that you do, they're gonna love you, right? You hit it on the head, Frank. It's unconditional. But unconditional love comes with challenging you, right? My mom she's always going to challenge me. She's always going to challenge me to be a better husband, you know, be a better father, be a better person. Um, she doesn't take any mess. I'm 42, but you know, when it's mom, I'm still the child. You know what I mean? So that she's even more so now, today than ever. Her influence is even greater, and just to have somebody praying for you constantly, I think that's, you know, constantly talking to the Father on your behalf. I think that's absolutely necessary. So my hope is that everybody has that.
That was amazing. I think we have asked a lot of questions, and what I want to do now is I want to give the audience an opportunity to be able to drop a question in the chat. So you could be able to answer that. So, guys, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, the CEO, let's go ahead and drop those questions, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick a question, and we're gonna go from there. Okay. Okay, we got Mr. Samuel, and I like this question because it talks about the future.
Mhm.
What do you see for our community within the next year?
So is that Nate? Is that my man Nate,
That's
Mr.
him.
Samuel? What do I see? You know, the biggest thing that I see is a community of leaders. You know, like-minded individuals that are successful, that are growing spiritually, that are growing emotionally. So in their soul, they're happy. Um, People that are, you know, working on their bodies, working on their physical body to be at the best physical shape possible. 100 diamonds in the company, without a doubt, by March 31st, 2026. Um, and creating more success, but more so not just financially, but in how we carry ourselves, you know, how we show up, how we make a difference in our communities, you know, whether it's through different charities that you make a difference, or maybe it's, you know, through different ministries that you make a difference. Just creating an environment where anytime someone steps into and envision your environment, that they are empowered, you know, that they don't leave the same way, that there's something about a visionary builder in our company that makes a difference in their lives. That's what I see. We are we're constantly pushing the envelope and creating new tools, creating new products, creating new experiences. I just got off a call with a friend of mine who's built an entire artificial intelligence course, and we were talking about how we can get it on this platform. We're constantly thinking, how can we add more value to where anyone who's a part of this community, anyone who's a part of this company, they can actually receive value. They can actually receive something that's going to benefit their lives in a major, major way. So I see a lot of growth. Um, I see a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. I'm really, really happy for what God is doing in the lives of so many people. And you know, I can call you guys young, right? Because I'm in my 40s, you guys are in your 20s. I can see the future, and I told Bryce, I said, "You're going to do greater than I've done. You know, you're going to do greater than I've done. You know, Bryce has done greater than I've done in this industry. To be 29 years old, and to have done what he's accomplished in this industry, it's incredible. Same thing with Josh, and same thing with Nate, and same thing with Kalia. That's the goal, to have other people come along that do greater, that have way more success than we've ever had in this industry. That's what I see happening for so many people, and not just the men, but the women. I believe there's some women that are coming along in this company right now that are really seeing themselves at the very top. And honestly, it's just you taking ownership. You know, for the women that are out there, it's you just taking ownership and saying, "This is my time. You know, this is my time to be great. This is my time to make a difference and be that boss. You know, be that boss lady, and carry yourself with that strength and that grace that can move mountains."
Awesome.
Sheesh. And I don't know if y'all caught it, but David actually spoke the vision. 100 diamonds, right? That is the vision that we have. And David, I'm well aware that in order to get to diamond, that's not the most important rank in the company. It's
Mhm.
actually champion.
Yeah.
So could you briefly break down how to go champion? Like for someone who is brand new, let's
Mhm.
say this is their first week, how does someone actually go champion in the business, and what is like the mindset, daily activities, and what's actually in it for the champion?
Yeah. You know, Bryson, what's interesting, I finally realized why in the company we've had almost 800 people actually hit that rank. Um, overall champion and above, over 1,000. But let me tell you the number one reason why there's 324 people on this call. In the month of August, every single one of you can hit champion in the month of August. But the only reason why a lot of you won't do it is because you're not grateful. See, you'll never go after something you don't value. See, because you don't value $1,000 a month, you don't think that that's significant. You won't do the work to go and make that happen. It's a lack of gratitude because it's not $10,000. See, if you were close to $10,000, you would work harder. See, if you needed, watch this, if you needed 30 customers to get to $10,000, would you go and get those 30 customers? If we gave you 30 days, if we gave you 30 days, 4 weeks to get 30 customers, and we said at the end of the 30 customers, boom, you're going to be at $10,000. How many of you would go get those 30 customers? You would. Do you know why? Because you value $10,000. You value 10,000. You don't value 1,000. You're not grateful for 1,000. So it's no big deal. Oh, this week I didn't go champion. No big deal. Next week, no big deal. Next month, no big deal. Next year, no big deal. So you just do no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. And 6 months goes by. Oh, the business doesn't work. Do you know why? Because it was no big deal. Telling you that champion is 4,500 CV. It's 30 customers on the TNT app. It's 30 people that make the decision that they want to learn and earn in two of the largest financial markets in the world. That ain't hard, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't hard. But because you don't value $1,000, you don't go for it. But here's the problem with that. If you never hit champion, you can never hit diamond. You have to hit champion to get to diamond. And the beauty of champion is when you do it, now you have the blueprint on how to go diamond. Because now it's just a matter of duplicating what you did 10 times. That's it. 10 champions in your business is diamond. All right. So But you got to do it first. You got to do it first. And when I sit down with leaders, right? When I sit down with leaders and I said, listen, this compensation plan, the way it's designed for you to break champions. That is the most important rank. Whatever amount of income you want to earn, $100,000 a month, $1 million a month, $25,000 a month, it don't matter. If you focus on breaking champions, ladies and gentlemen, you will hit all those income levels. But if you're not grateful for $1,000, you're not going to listen to what it is that I have to say. $1,000, not realizing that that's the gateway to you getting to your 10,000. That's the gateway to you getting to your 50 and your 100 is you first hitting that rank. So when I sit down with leaders, I said, listen, personally sponsored 12 to 15. So in the month of August, right? Starting now, it's the 30th of July. I'm going to build a list. Over the next 24 hours, I'm going to build a list of people that I'm going to expose to this opportunity. And I'm going to expose them with excitement, enthusiasm. I'm going to be in a hurry. I'm going to know where I'm going to take them. Am I taking them to a meeting? Am I taking them to a Zoom call? And I'm going to expose as many people as possible because I'm going to get 30 customers in my business this month. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to personally enroll 12 to 15 this month. And I'm going to help 3 to 4 of them go team consultant. When you do that, more than likely, you'll be at the champion level. More than likely, you'll be at the champion level. But don't despise the days of small beginnings. Don't be ungrateful for $1,000. Be grateful for $1,000. That's $1,000 a month. $1,000, that's $12,000. I don't know. A job today, maybe $50,000, right? Maybe. If you were making $50,000 a year on your job and they called you in and said, hey, we're going to add another 12,000,
Yeah.
you know, that's significant. But that doesn't happen in corporate America. You can do that right here in Envision You. But the beauty of it, guys, is that now when you teach that to 1 to 2 other people, Sapphire's done. Now you're at $2,000. You help 3 to 4 people do it. Now Ruby's done. Now you're at 3,500. You help 5 people do it. Now you're at $5,000. You're cooking. Let them cook. You're rolling at this point. $5,000 a month, right? She is absolutely rocking and rolling. And then what you do is, okay, I'm going to help these 5 people. Am I going to help them break champions, or am I going to go and break another champion? 10 champions, diamond's done. And guys, it gets easier at $10,000 a month. Oh yeah, it's hard 0 to 10,000, but at 10,000, trust me, it's a little easier. The presentation is a little more smoother. You know what I mean? The nose don't hurt as much. Okay, because you got 10 racks coming in. You want to do it? No problem, man. Listen, I'll get back with you in about 6 months. Okay, when I'm at 25K, maybe you'll be ready then. No problem. Right? But when you're at 200, 500, yeah, it's an uphill battle. But that's why you become a diamond. It's the pressure, right? It's the heat, all right? But don't despise the days of small beginnings. Get champion done. I believe everybody on this planet can hit champion. Everybody. There's not one person on this planet I don't think can hit champion. You don't have to be a superstar to hit champion. You just have to make a decision. And that decision is, I'm not going to devalue $1,000 a month.
Wow. David, I just want to be the person to tell you that, I really do appreciate, your commitment, to Envision You, but, you're showing men, you're showing everybody what it looks like, to represent God boldly, to really give everything your all. You're really like the first leader that I've seen even, incorporate the Holy Spirit in, your speeches and just welcome him into your business. And I know for a fact that we're being led correctly here. And I know what we're going to do in the future. So I just want to appreciate you, just for taking the time to be able to have this call and to share all of your wisdom. because I know for a fact there's somebody on this call that just heard this information and they're going to go diamond just because they get it, right? They heard this information, they're going to go ahead and accomplish the things that they didn't even know they wanted to accomplish. It might not have been a goal for them, but now it is, just because you decided to say yes to this call. So I'm really appreciative for your time and all the time that you spent, building this industry. So we literally can run. You literally crawl. So every leader can run inside this industry. So I'm thankful for that.
So, man, thank you as well, Carl. Thank you so much as well.
Absolutely. And I'm just as thankful, David. And one thing I do want to say is everyone, could y'all please drop some thank you Davids in the chat? It's not too often that you have a CEO that, I mean, if you call David at any point throughout the day, I guarantee he has a suit or a tie on. I guarantee it. And it just goes to show just his willingness to work, and just be a servant leader. And that's not too often. And I'm just super grateful, David, for you. And just like Carl said, the commitment that you have to the company. And you know that it's been a great call. I'm super, super excited for what's to come. And let's get it.
Yeah, I'm grateful to you as well, Brycen and Carl. You guys putting this call together. I think it's just amazing. Guys, type some sevens in the chat, some 777s in the chat for them. I mean, it takes great initiative, and it's leadership. It's leadership at its finest to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're making money. Yeah, we're helping people succeed financially, but we got to grow people. And this is how you do it. You grow them through the right information. You grow it through the right associations, right? The right experiences. That's how you grow people. And when you start to grow people's belief systems, life takes on a completely different meaning. Our company is going to look so different a year from now. A year from now, people are going to be blown away by the amount of success that this company is going to have, the amount of people that are going to be winning. And it's going to be all of a sudden, people are going to be like, wow, that just came out of nowhere. But it's been prepared. It's been prepared. And I believe that we're ready now. And what's going to happen over the next 6 months, over the next 12 months, is just going to be what I'm looking forward to the most is being able to stand on stage and truly, truly, truly give God all the glory for what's about to happen. That is going to be a moment that I'll never forget. And it's going to happen very, 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 very soon. So can't wait to see you guys there. And appreciate you again. Let's go champion. All right.
Awesome. See you in Orlando.
All righty. See you guys soon.